everybody, it's Francis from What a Hell of a Way to Die. It's time for our very first December news roundup. I've got a couple of things to discuss here in the news. We're going to be kind of changing things up a little bit today just because I have different things I want to talk about. I haven't really watched a whole lot of new TV or movies. I did not get a chance to go see Godzilla -1. I did not get a chance to go see my giant monster movie, sadly. And turns out it's only going to be in theaters for a week, so fuck me, I guess. No giant monsters for me, at least not in the theaters. We're going to have to wait for that to... Might have to pirate it online somewhere, I guess. I don't know. But we have a couple of news items, and then we're going to have kind of a longer feature that I'm going to yell about as we do. And then kind of rotate into some Christmas stuff. You know, we got the holidays around the corner. I've got a wife and a daughter to kind of think about. And, you know, I don't want to say as a veteran, but, you know, as somebody who's middle-aged and a middle-aged dad, I'm sure some of you are as well. So maybe we can think about, if you're wondering what to get your middle-aged dad, we can come up with some things for you. And then if you are a middle-aged dad like myself, what can you get your kids, your daughter, your son, your wife, the guy that lives down the street that always lets you borrow his weed whacker? I don't know. All those kinds of things. But let's go ahead and start out with our first news item. Stuck in shoddy barracks, soldiers make an app to review them. So this is a piece in the Army Times, and this is by Jamie Moore Carrillo. And this is an article that's about an app that some soldiers made that it's kind of a Yelp-style app where you can review the hots or the cots. It's called Hots and Cots. And you can where you're eating or where you're sleeping. So if you've kept up with us, if you've kept up with military news, you know that like shit has really gone downhill. Not just with the way, not just with where people are sleeping, but how they're eating as well. Dining facilities are constantly, you know, closed when they should be open. When they are open, sometimes they're just giving you just absolutely garbage food. Sometimes the molds, rats, laundry facilities not working. Laundry facilities not working has always been a long-standing kind of issue in these barracks. You know, anytime I've never been fully active duty. I've never had to live in the barracks outside of training or classes or courses, things like that. The last time that I had to live in military barracks for an extended period of time was when I did advanced leadership course at Fort Meade. Now, I was excited to go back to Fort Meade. This was 2014. I was excited to go to Fort Meade because that's where I'd done my AIT, my advanced individual training. Because at that time, we had our weekends, and you're like 20 minutes away from DC, you're 20 minutes away from Baltimore. It's where the NSA is, so it was a really nice base. And boy, was that not the way it was later. And I don't know if it's because the base itself, after 14 years, was just getting shittier, probably. Or if this was a case of, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at the age of 18 and, really raring to go to do Army shit. And, later on I was in my 30s and I was like, I hate everybody and everything about this. But I did have fun at ALC. One of the guys I was in Iraq with was there in my class, so I had somebody to hang out with. It was a weird experience though, because AIT, like for junior soldiers, was still happening. Yet we were there for sergeant training. All of us were either Bucks E5s or E6s. I was in E6 at the time, and you needed the course to maintain your rank. And if you wanted to go up to E7. Then you have the senior leadership course, but didn't do any of that nonsense. But I remember the food, the dining facilities were fine. The barracks were a little rough, but not what I was not expecting, I would say. So when I was there, there were 4 like big barracks buildings that everybody and it was get my thoughts together here. So everybody who was going to public affairs school, whether you're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coasties, were living in these barracks. Army was with the Army, Navy and Marines were all kind of in their own, obviously their own barracks. The Air Force had their own, and then there was like one coastie, and I think he lived over with the Navy and the Marines guys. So the barracks when we went there were the old Marine barracks. So I was not expecting them to be all that great. I don't expect nice places to sleep in the Army. Like anytime I'm on active duty, I expect it to be kind of shitty. I'm going to be kind of roughing it. I'm happy if I've got clean water, if I've got a place to shit that is relatively clean. If I see a couple of dead cockroaches, as long as they're not inside the room, I'm not going to have that big of a deal about it. So maybe my expectations are kind of low. But also, again, I was only there for 4 weeks. Like it was a place to endure until I got to go back home to my real house, which doesn't have cockroaches and cots. Well, we had beds, but they were like those. God, man, I would rather sleep on a cot, like one of those fold-out green cots, than like a mattress that so many other soldiers have slept on. I don't care if you give me fresh linens. I don't want to sleep on a mattress that God knows how many fucking asses have farted into it. You know, like this. My mattress, I've farted into it, and that's fine. I'm the only one. My daughter farts into it all the time too, but she's 8. What do you expect? But that's the world I kind of suspected to live in. But again, I don't have to do this 24/7, 365. This is not my life. So this Hots and Cots is a really interesting idea to do. And it's not as if this is something that's like an Army initiative. Like the Army's like, no, we want to know about these things. We want pictures. We want to know about these dining facilities. The Army doesn't give a shit. If the Army gave a shit, they would have fixed it. People have been complaining about this stuff for years. You know, everybody who's spent any time in the Army has stayed in some condemned ass barracks. Everybody who stayed in some World War II barracks where like your grandfather got fucking deployed out of this part of Fort Dix or Fort Meade or any of these places. Like all these bases existed back then. And the buildings are pretty sound because I will say the military is very good at putting up a building. The problem is they don't really maintain them. And the people who are supposed to go in them and clean them and upkeep them don't give a shit for the most part. You know, that's great. That's whatever. But you know, that is, like I said, with transitional barracks, I understand that. And I've seen really nice barracks. When I was on Fort Carson for a week, the barracks I saw, I'm not going to say you're in Fort Carson right now. Don't fucking yell at me. I don't know your conditions. The barracks I saw were fairly nice, clean, and nice communal areas. Like, I think the one thing I love about Army barracks as a concept is that it's kind of it's how people like that age should live. A communal area. It's cheap. Like, obviously it's free when you're in the Army, but a place that would be cheap. You have a room, a bedroom and a bathroom. Maybe you have a small kitchenette. You don't need a big apartment all to yourself, and a big communal area where there's other, dumbass 20-year-olds that you can hang out and smoke and joke with and all that fun stuff. I feel like that would be, a not necessarily everybody should live that way, but an option that people should have. The same thing with living in the college dorms. It's kind of the same concept. I don't know how college dorms work. I don't know who's cleaning the bathrooms there. I don't know who my assumption is, though, when you are in a barracks, the cleaning of your personal space and your personal bathroom is up to you. Now, again, when I was there, in Fort Meade, and usually when I'm there, it's communal bathrooms, which are fine, but you're the guys who have to clean it, so you have to come up with a cleaning schedule, and everybody's got to do it. It's a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. It's the Army. You gotta expect that you're gonna have to do some work. If you didn't want to do work, don't fucking join the Army, because they make you do work constantly. It sucks. They don't pay you well either. So I like this idea. I think this is a great way for people to have an idea of like, okay, I'm going to Fort Bliss, I'm going to Fort Stewart, I'm going to JBLM. What are the places like? And I like some of these screenshots here. One of them says that Fort Liberty has one that's macro friendly. But then JRTC showers 1 star, move-in ready 1 star, and it's got a picture of like mold and stuff like that. So it's, some places are going to be nicer than others. And this is a good idea. This is a good way to kind of get an idea. If you're a young soldier and you're like, what am I going to be getting into after I'm done with my advanced individual training? Now, again, not all barracks on every base is built the same. Sometimes some barracks on the same base, some will be good, some will be shitty. But it at least kind of gives you an idea. So kudos to these guys. At least it gives these troops a place to vent, which I think is really the big thing that everybody wants. Everybody just wants a space that they can bitch about, but in a way of not. Joe always complains. Joes will always complain about anything. You could put a Joe in the fucking 102nd blowjob and ice cream social brigade, and he will fucking complain about something. But a lot of times these guys have some real complaints. I would hate to live in a place that has mold or mice or any of the things that these guys are complaining about, and you have no real recourse. Like if I had mold in my house right now, if I opened up a place and I said, "Oh shit, there's black mold here," I can do something about that. I, being a dad and having an idea of how to do a little bit of home repair, depending on how extensive it is, clean it, or at least like if it's some drywall or plaster, I can pull it out and replaster it, re-drywall it myself. I can fix those problems because it's my house and I have the know-how. Your average 20-year-old in barracks not only doesn't know how to do these things, but he's not allowed to. They're not given the opportunity to take care of these things. So this, like I said, it gives you an idea of kind of what you're getting into, the garbage that you're going to have to deal with. And there's usually multiple dining facilities on military bases, and I don't know the rules. Whenever I was there, it's like you can go to this dining facility and that's it. But it's always because we're, some kind of adjunct. We were there to, do training or whatever. So here's the dining facility you go to. You can't go to the really nice one all the way over, on the other side of base. And it didn't matter because we all went to the PX and ate Robin Hood sandwiches anyway, because dining facilities kind of as a rule suck. But if you have a dining facility, if the food is hot and I've got a decent salad bar, I'm happy. I always love a salad bar because I don't eat enough salads, but if there is a bar for me to create a salad at the ready, I will fucking load up, man. If you give me some regular lettuce and some spinach and some cherry tomatoes and a little bit of cheese and some, eggs, something, just stuff I can just pile onto a bunch of green shit and shove into my mouth and feel like I'm doing something healthy, that's a thumbs up from me. And for the most part, most places I've been to have had decent salad bars. So I don't have anything to complain about. But also, I left the Army 3 years ago. So and I don't have to deal with any of this shit. It's kind of nice. It's I highly recommend being not in the Army anymore. Especially when you're in your 30s. Like, you're too old for that. Like, get out. Go do something else. All right, next up. So this is from Megan Myers. Half of the U.S. would recommend military service to loved ones, the report says. Now, if you're looking at that, half of the U.S. would recommend this, and you're wondering, does that mean that half of the U.S. is in the military? Absolutely not. Like 3%, I think. And that's generous. I'm being generous saying 3%. 3% also is like all the people who were drafted into Vietnam, whatever World War II veterans and Korean War veterans we still have hanging on. But there's not really a whole lot of people who have spent a lot of time in the Army or in the military of any kind. But they love to tell people to join. Now, it has always been this podcast will tell you, don't join the Army. The Army will never love you. It'll never love you as much as you try to love it. Will send you to shitty places and kill your friends, and might kill you too. And even if that doesn't mean getting shot in a war, it could be fucking falling out of the sky in an Osprey. It could be slow depression and terrible behavioral health until you take care of yourself, in one way or another. The military is a shitty organization, and I like to think that it's getting better in some ways. In a lot of ways it is. And I don't shit on anybody who does join the Army. I also don't recommend it. And I would never, I think I have a cousin excuse me, I have a nephew who just turned 20, I think, and he was kind of aimless, not really, didn't really know what he wanted to do. He's going to he wants to go to school, be a diesel mechanic now, which, hey, that's awesome. His father was in the military. My brother, he was in the military. He's in the military since the day I was born. Like, he joined, I was born, and my brother said, fuck this, and joined the Army. He's 17 and a half years older than me. So he got out, he retired about a couple years before I did. So he spent a lot of time in. And even both of us were just like, don't join the Army. You don't want to join the Army. One, just knowing him, my nephew, it wouldn't have been a fit. He would not have been a fit for it. It would not have been a fit for him. But also, just don't join the Army. If you're going to join something, join the Air Force. Get some good technical knowledge there. But, if you do want to join the Army, and if you do have questions about it, I'm always happy to answer those things. I will always start, I've been DM'd multiple times by people saying, yeah, I think I want to join the Army. I want to ask some questions about it. And I say, well, first off, don't join the Army. Don't do it. Definitely don't join the Marines. Go join the Navy or go join the Air Force, one or the other. Now, if you're dead set on the Army, that's fine. I can still talk to you, help you out, give you some pointers, some advice. Keep in mind, my Army knowledge is old and reservist. So I'm an old part-timer. I only have the kids now with their Riz and they're drinking Monster Energy drinks and, TikToking from Nintendo to Nintendo. I don't fucking know what's going on there. But if you want to know, will the Army love me? No, it won't. But you can at least extract things out of the Army yourself if you pick a decent MOS that doesn't require being out in the field and getting shot at or shooting at other people. There's not a whole lot of marketable skills in becoming an 11 bang bang. Talk to your local infantryman about that. There's not a whole lot of jobs outside. You can go guard parking lots. You can maybe become a cop, but even that's a stretch because they'd rather take MPs because when you become an MP, you have to get the lobotomy to make you a cop troop. Imagine that, a cop and a troop. Ooh, just god awful. So if you get out, you want to go join a police force, your lobotomy is already taken care of. It's like getting out with a security clearance. That's what you should do. Find a job that gives you a security clearance, or find a job where you're fixing shit with your hands. If you want to fix something, fix Chinooks, fix airplanes. Go fix anything like that because you'll do it for dirt cheap in the military for 4 years, and then you'll get out, and then Boeing will be like, "Cool, come fix that shit for us for $100,000." There's my recommendations for joining the Army. Go fix shit for the Army, and then when you're out, go fix shit in the real world because we always need people that can fix shit. What you do is you get out of the Army and then you become a contractor doing exactly what you did in the Army, but you get to stay in bed until 9:30 in the morning. You get to knock off at about 4 o'clock, and you get to wear 5'11" pants, and you can get really fat. It's great. Go be a contractor. Don't join the Army. So that's what I have here for our news. So let's go in and go over to our other segment. All right, so let's kind of move on to our main feature, the Armed Forces Brewing Company. Now, if you're wondering, why does that name kind of ring a bell? Armed Forces Brewing Company is one of those anti-woke, we love America, isn't it so great that we love patriots kind of things. Now, they don't really kind of go into they haven't really fallen fully into the anti-woke, pro-Trump kind of shit, but they are there. They are that kind of company where the entire crux of it is manliness and being a man and having a beard and shooting guns. And we don't like sissy men. We like manly men. I don't know what any of that shit means. I was in the military for 20 years. I was surrounded by people who were not like this all the time. I don't know why they think this works. I mean, I'm sure it does work in a certain way. Now, maybe during the Obama years, you could really get away with the whole bullets, boobies, and beards kind of advertising. But it's 2023 now. And either you need to go fully in on being pro-Trump, anti-woke, or you need to just leave that shit behind. You don't have to be, you don't have to be me, a very outspoken pro-transgender, pro-LGBT and everything else. You don't have to be that. You can just sell beer. That's fine. Just sell beer. But that's not what they did. What they did is they went the opposite direction, where they hired as a brand ambassador Robert O'Neill. Now, Robert O'Neill is better known on Twitter as McHuya, and also known as the person who claims to have shot Osama bin Laden. Claims. Did he? I don't know. I don't give a shit. He's a dickhead. He has been picked up for drunk and disorderly within the last year. Not only drunk and disorderly, because I mean, look, we've all been drunk and disorderly. You're not a troop if you haven't been drunk and disorderly at least once in your life. But he also throws slurs around while he's drunk and disorderly. I don't do that. And most soldiers I know don't do that either. We steal a gator. We, throw beer bottles at stop signs, drunk, disorderly, not racist though. That's not a part of drunk and disorderly, but it is if you're Robert O'Neill. He also got into a whole thing about not wearing a mask on airplanes, which, like, God fucking damn it. First off, when I get on airplanes now, I wish more people wore masks because stop breathing on me. The whole COVID years didn't really turn me into a germaphobe, but it did show me that a better world is possible. And that better world is one where strangers aren't breathing on me. And we just chucked all that away now that COVID is done, as we're calling it or so. And look, I don't wear the mask on the airplane either. I get it, but it was a beautiful time when we were doing air travel and wearing the masks. And hey, I understand not wanting to wear a mask, but get over yourself, man. Like, shut the fuck up. Wear the mask. Like, I know you want to do the I love freedom, nobody can tell me what the fuck to do, but you certainly sit the fuck down and put the seatbelt on when the stewardess tells you. You put your seat and your tray table in the upright and locked position. So where is your fucking anger about all that shit? I got to wear a mask, I'm going to start a problem. No, put your fucking tray table down, then see what happens. Nobody does that. It's the rules that we have to do to fly in the airplane. We follow the rules. Shut the fuck up and follow the rules. Nobody wants to be here. Nobody's enjoying themselves. Just shut the fuck up. But it's all culture war. It's always been culture war. So now if you don't remember the advertisement, I could only find this on Instagram because the Armed Forces Brewing Company scrubbed this off of their YouTube because, as it turns out, having McHuya as your brand ambassador, kind of a shitty idea because he's a piece of shit. He goes on Fox News and it cries about wokeness all the time. That's like his shtick. I don't know what he does for money other than be a shitty dude online. I'm looking forward to, 20 to 30 years when I'm 70 and he's 75, and I don't know, I don't know what he'll be doing. Fucking whatever. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Here he is right here. Turn the sound on. He shot a guy thrice. Okay, first off, let's pause that. One thing I hate in TV shows, and I swear to God, this happens in every TV show, when you have a cup of coffee and you're drinking from the cup of coffee, and it's very obvious that the cup of coffee is not full of anything, put water in it. I don't give a shit. Put something in it. An empty cup and a full cup of liquid move differently in your hand, and you react to them differently in your hand. So the fake gunshots just really, really irritate me. Now, and you might think with all of this beer behind them that they must already have some kind of, place where they brew all this. They don't. Armed Forces Brewing Company does not exist as a brick and mortar. They have a formula that they send to white label companies who brew the beer for them, and then they, sell them for $14 a six pack, which, goddamn. Like, the only time I spend that much on a six pack is like if I'm really feeling myself and I want to get like a 4-pack of Tank 7 or something. But like, if you've never had Tank 7, it is fucking, oh God, it'll obliterate you, but it tastes so good. Like it's a 14% beer that does not taste 14%. And you can, I accidentally drank 3 of those one time. When you know how sometimes you get accidentally drunk, you're just not paying attention to how much you're drinking, and you're sitting, and you're bullshitting, and then you're like, oh, I got to take a leak, and you stand up, and then you've kind of like run into the bar itself. That's Tank 7. But that's expensive beer, but it's good beer. This is not. This is just regular. This is just fucking beer. So let's get back to our boy here. We've got, we obviously have the attractive young lady who's going to be the boobies for this commercial. We've already had the bullets. He's got a bit of a beard. You can see some of the comments in here are pretty great. As he goes on, we don't do any of this horse piss. 1.3 ABV. Our lady has changed into some different clothes, and he's dumping it out into a toilet, as we see. And then we've got the very like, do you remember those Taiwanese videos of the news that are like very poorly done but very funny? That's kind of what we're getting at here. We got all the beer in behind us here. Now we're going to call in an airstrike, apparently. We've got another costume change for our attractive young blonde lady. Pretentious foreign brewing company. Which one? Like, first off, the local brewing companies are way more pretentious than InBev. Like, and I live 3 miles away from the Budweiser, like the headquarters in St. Louis. And it's a nice facility. They've got a lot of history there. They're very big into St. Louis, and even though it's owned by the Belgians, it's still, a nice St. Louis run and everything. Employs a lot of Americans, as we love. Probably employs a lot more veterans than Armed Forces Brewing Company does. A place that employs 4 veterans out of 13 people, I believe. Not a veteran here. And Mikuya is not employed by them either. He was just doing the the spokesman stuff. Oh yes, the big American flag patch on her back, sure. Now we've got this guy who wants more hops in it, and then he does a Vulcan neck pinch on the guy. And then we've got sexy Marine lady now. Now we've got an alien in the background for some reason. The Space Force. We gotta add the Space Force in there. I get that, Not aiming that whatsoever, but that's fine. We'll light the guy on fire in the back. American flags on everything. More American flags. More American flags. And now we're going to go through this whole... Now there's this... It goes through a whole, like, old-timey radio show kind of thing. So... And again, this is what really made the rounds a couple of years ago. And of course, everybody roundly made fun of it because it's incredibly fucking stupid. But we're back in the news again. So let's go ahead. I've been babbling for 10 minutes about these guys, but let's bring it back into what we have here. So the controversy over Armed Forces Brewing mirrors increasingly diverse national battles about free speech and the ways in which businesses appeal to politicized niches of the public. This is from Virginia Mercury. I originally found this on Military Times. They had reprinted it, but I wanted to give Jim Morrison of the Virginia Mercury his due here as the writer and as the link that will be down there, because I'm going to go through. We're going to read it and discuss some of this. So. It starts out with Alan Beal, the chief executive of the fledgling Armed Forces Brewing Company, was scouting locations in Florida to buy a brewery in January when he got a call from Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. We love to get a call from a governor. The governor let me know that Virginia would love to have us relocate and open a brewing facility to employ Virginians. Beal said in a classified briefing video for the company investors. So, as I said, you could become an investor. Now, these classified briefings are videos that are open for anybody to go see, but obviously he sends them out to the people who gave him $200 for a challenge coin. You could invest, becoming a founding investor in this by giving them money and not asking for too much stuff in return. Certainly not getting free beer out of it, but you do get a challenge coin. Who doesn't love a challenge coin? That the military soldiers go fucking apeshit over challenge coins. We love them. So Virginia already has more than 340 breweries, but Youngkin wanted at least one more. So the state came according. The Virginia Economic Development Partnership created Project Seawolf, offering for sale Norfolk's O'Connor Brewing and more than $300,000 in tax incentives. Details first reported by Dave Infant in his Fingers newsletter about drinking. So Armed Forces Brewing Company sealed the deal in July, taking control of the trailblazing brewery that helped transform what was once a depressed, largely industrial neighborhood into a hip, bustling enclave of businesses, restaurants, and apartments known as the Railroad District. City council members, who are typically consulted on big business moves happening in their backyard, learned about the sale when Youngkin issued a press release. So I'm not against microbrews. I feel like there's too many of them, but fucking whatever. Like, it's if people want to go out and they go to, like, we don't have pubs here in America like they do in England. And look, there's only 7 beers. There's, your IPAs, your stouts, your lagers, your saisons, and a few others that kind of get thrown in there. You make some fruit beers, a blueberry, hef or whatever, but everybody wants to put their own spin on it. I'm not against that. I don't drink as much as I used to, but I'm not against breweries. So I want everybody to know that going through. I don't like. I'm all about revitalizing economically revitalizing areas with breweries, because breweries bring people, and with those people come, they say, apartments and other businesses and places to work. It brings people to come work there, and that's great. We need businesses to do that in various places. So in the investor video, Beal called Norfolk just a great community for us to locate, noting there were 100,000 military family members in the area, in addition to its 82,000 active duty personnel. Bringing a military tribute craft brewery to the home of the world's largest naval base and its thousands of personnel sounded like a perfect marriage until neighborhood residents found out. Rather than "oorah," the reaction was "oh no." So hundreds posted their opposition to social media. More than 800 filed objections to the brewery's application for a required conditional use permit. In a surprise vote last month, Planning Commission members recommended denial, contradicting the staff recommendation. Why is this? Because everybody saw exactly who they were. They put themselves out as who they are. They are pieces of shit. In this video, if we go back to it, I can't, because it's Instagram, I can't scrub through it, but it goes to the end, and at the end of it, it has O'Neill, not being allowed to come into a building because he's refusing to wear a mask. Like, they're calling out the whole, like, haha, isn't it funny that one time that you got thrown off of an airplane for being a huge dick ass? And, that's really what this shit comes down to. And it's not so much that specific commercial was a problem. The problem is that the people that are involved in it are huge assholes, and they post things online that shows that they are huge assholes. So as it continues, we'll kind of skip over some things here. Beer as a community over the past decade, as the number of craft breweries nationwide has grown to more than 9,500, they have all become local hubs, many explicitly representing themselves as progressive places welcoming all comers and their pets. So this is like, a lot of the breweries want to be like, yes, everybody is welcome here. Everybody can come here and enjoy our beer. I am against bringing your fucking pets. Leave your fucking dog at home. Your dog is a piece of shit. I say this with love because I have a dog who I leave at home. Because, look, I was at the fucking secondhand store the other day, and a lady brought in a dog, and she's like, "Oh, this dog, he's training to be an emotional support dog," which doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Emotional support animals are not a thing. Maybe they are to you, but not in an official capacity. And that dog was terribly trained. Very nice dog, very friendly, but also did not listen to its handler, which is a problem. Your animal needs to be well trained and listen to the handler, and not be like, "Oh, I just want to go wander over here and sniff some butts." That's a problem. So That's my axe to grind. That's my angry boomer moment of leave your fucking pets at home. They're not your children. Bring your children to the brewery. Like we were taking our kid out to the not the bar, but we were taking her out to restaurants that have bars when she was like 6 months old, or excuse me, 6 weeks old. 6 weeks old. Put her in the little baby carrier. Take it out. We can all go get a beer and have some burgers and fries. So take your kids. I'm all about your kids. I love kids. Dogs or whatever. So Armed Forces is different. It's the anti-craft beer craft brewery. Again, really trying hard to fill a niche that it is 100% a part of. You know, we're gonna fill this. We're not a craft brewery. We're not a pretentious brewery. Literally are making it a place that only certain people are going to feel comfortable in. And anybody else, as you say, I wish there were more hops in this, you are telling those people they don't belong there. And maybe that's what you want. Maybe you don't want that guy's $5, whatever. But it's not going to work out for you well in the long run. As conservative as Coors, but with a $14 six-pack price tag, the company's branding and its leaders cater to a specific niche, mocking hipsters, woke culture, and appealing to Fox News viewers. And yeah, so their video gallery, it's just god awful. Beal's social media posts show him wearing a Trust in Beer, Not Government shirt, supporting indicted former President Donald Trump and mocking President Joe Biden. Again, these things are not going to help you out because you can, like, everybody will go to the bar, right? Everybody enjoys a beer. You can be an Armed Forces beer, and that's fine. And I would probably drink it. Sure. I was recently, my wife and I were in Branson, Missouri. God bless Branson. Love it. The Las Vegas run by Ned Flanders. And there's a restaurant there called Heroes. And it is a restaurant where it is themed not only after military, not only after police or EMT, but also teachers. And everything on the menu is kind of themed like in one of those things, one way or another. And if you are one of any of those things that are in their hero, like, you know, purview, you are given like 10% off. And the food was great. And it's not pretentious. It's not a place that I felt like, yeah, you know, that, what was the name? The Mission Barbecue, I think, where like they play the national anthem at noon and you have to stop eating and stand up and like put your hand over your barbecue-y hand over your heart for the national anthem. Fuck that noise. Like, God fucking damn. That's pretentious. That's the up your own ass kind of pretension that I'm trying to avoid. So if you, and like I said, if you are like, hey, here's beer, come drink beer, everybody says, cool, I will go drink beer there. If you say, here's beer, and we don't like these specific people, they're not welcome, you're cutting your own income stream down here for no reason. Like, you're catering to people who would have shown up anyway because they like beer. All the anti-woke people would have been there regardless. Like, again, you don't have to be me. You don't have to fly a transgender flag outside of your brewery if you don't want to. It's fine. You don't have to single any politics whatsoever. You can just be like, look, we love the troops. Here's some troop beer. We love the troops. That's cool. Here it is. None of this other stuff has to be there. But of course, people like this cannot help themselves, because they want to signal something. And while maybe the advertising for, you know, they've taken O'Neill's, the video with O'Neill down from their YouTube, and maybe they are trying to say like, okay, maybe we need to take a fucking step back from this. What they're still doing is on their personal, like, Beal is the CEO and not a veteran, and putting all of this out there and saying, this is who I am. And whether or not that is part of the branding of your beer, of your company, that is what people are going to associate it with. If I was wearing pro-Trump, anti-Joe Biden stuff, like, well, if I was wearing anti-Joe Biden stuff, most of you would fucking love that shit anyway. But if I was all pro-Trump, and if I was anti-woke shit, but still like trying to run my store, people would stop buying shit from my store because they're like, oh, Francis is a huge asshole. I don't do that. Now, I do know that there are people who will not buy from me because I am pro-trans. I am pro-LGBT. I'm pro everybody. Everybody. Like, stop killing everybody. Stop doing wars. Stop, genociding people in Gaza. I have no problem saying these things out loud. And if you don't want to buy from me, that's fine. I don't give a shit. I am perfectly comfortable with that. But also, I am not trying to run a multi-million-dollar brewery. If I was trying to run a multi-million-dollar brewery, I would shut the fuck up about politics 100%. Just because I don't want all of the other shit that's gonna that I don't want that baggage that comes with it. So, it shows brand ambassador Robert O'Neill, the SEAL Team 6 member who claims to have killed Osama bin Laden. I'm very glad that everybody always says he claimed to and not that he did it. Fox News is the only ones who kind of go with that one. Again, I don't know and I don't give a shit. Eli Wilson, an assistant professor at the University of New Mexico and the author of Beer and Society, How We Make Beer and Beer Makes Us, said he's not heard of a similar controversy over a brewery, but he's not surprised by the battle in Norfolk. Quote, the companies and people drawn to craft beer champion a kind of authenticity, he said. Often, he noted, they are outspoken about their progressive social values. But that's not the only kind of authenticity. The view that my company is an expression of who I am and what I believe can be presented. Yes, same thing with what I have. I have a business, and I sell things in it that are pro-trans and go to and proceeds go to Trans Lifeline. That is an extension of me. That is an extension of our message. Part of many messages that we have here. Mainly don't join the army. And also we love our trans homies. It certainly can manifest on the other side of the political spectrum, he added. Wilson said the controversy raises a thorny issue of people trying to stop a business only because it doesn't align with their views. So, and this is something that does need to kind of be discussed, because are we saying, okay, we don't want this to exist because we don't agree with their political views? Is that good or is that bad? Like, if I wasn't allowed to exist, like if the website builder that I use was like, we don't like that you have pro-trans stuff on your website, we're going to take it off. That would be a problem. People would have issues with that. Now, so they do kind of bring up some things here. It says not to be hypocritical with how we approach the world, but if we're going to be okay with some folks leading with very strong progressive values and holding events that support certain charities, I think we have to look at a little bit of symmetry. We see the ethical value in allowing folks to make equal gestures in the opposite direction, as long as it's not directly hurting anyone. Now, directly hurting anyone is the big question here, because I can say, I love my trans homies, and that doesn't hurt anybody. If you don't like trans people, that doesn't hurt you. There's nothing that goes against that. But if you are a person who is against trans people and you think that they should have horrible things done to them, or that they're not real people, or that they're, have mental disabilities or something, those beliefs do hurt people. Like, because you're spreading things that will eventually turn into some kind of legislation against people, regardless of how you believe, whether you believe that you're correct or not. It is going to harm people. Like, I think that the big thing to remember here is that you can be positive all day long, and that's fine. But as soon as you become negative against people, therein lies our problem. And as soon as you start saying these people are not welcome here, there's going to be a problem there. And because you're going to start attracting clientele who also believe that those people don't belong there. And what if those people live there? What if, Armed Forces Brewing Company opens up a place next to an apartment complex that has a couple of transgender people living there, and, you're anti-woke, you have anti-woke brew or whatever, and everybody gets really trashed and they go out there and they start, throwing bottles, or they start getting violent or something like that. You are responsible for that. I 100% believe that. I try to remain a positive person as much as I can, because negativity always begets more negativity, and negativity can always lead to violence. It's how it works. Like, no matter what, like, so my wife sent me an article about a local Toys for Tots drop-off point was robbed. And they have video of it. They have video of the robbers and everything, but they're like, look, we don't want to turn this into a big thing. We just, we're going to bring the thing, we're going to bring it in. And we'd love to see it just filled back up, and we're going to, try to make it a little bit more secure, but we're not going to turn this into a witch hunt. And all the comments are just like, no, you need to unblur their faces. We need to, get these people. We need to get them, whatever. Whether or not, you believe in the power of the carceral state, whether or not you think that somebody should pay for crimes or whatever, it doesn't matter, because that's still kind of a fucked up view of we need to get them. I'm also reminded of years ago, there was St. Louis was in the grip of the story of this little puppy that got dragged behind a pickup truck. And the dog, survived, and I can't remember the name of the dog, but eventually, he got adopted out and everything. And I swear to God, man, the comments about like, oh, they should find... It was a mistake. It was an accident. Like, it was not on purpose. A guy did not say, fuck this dog, I'm going to drag it behind me on here. I don't remember what the circumstances were. Maybe he forgot about the dog, but that is not forgetfulness, sure, but that's not, malicious intent. There was not malicious intent behind it, but the comment sure had some fucking malicious intent behind it. So I try not to be a negative person. I try not to have all that kind of negativity in what I do and what I say and in my heart or whatever, however you want to do it, because when you do have that, you can build upon something that turns into something you can't control anymore. So I would say that, yes, if you are a company that is specifically supporting Donald Trump, a man who says that there are people who should not exist in this country, that people should be deported who are American citizens, but because they are brown, or maybe if they're not patriotic enough, and Armed Forces Brewing Company has some like, I turned on the TV and it seems like nobody loves America anymore. Why don't people love America? I'm so sad about America not being loved. We love America though. And like, fuck you, man. Like, we have a duty to call out America. We have a duty for those things and to try to build a better tomorrow. And crying about it online is not going to do that. And these insane videos that you're putting out are not going to do that. So I understand the argument about like, why do you allow one side and not the other? But like, as long as the progressive places are saying, hey, here's a place where everybody is welcome. Like my local YMCA that I go to has signs that says everybody is welcome. Age, sex, gender, anybody, whoever you are welcome and you are safe here. And I don't like, there's no negative vibe to that at all. There's no negativity to it. It's just no matter who you are, you can feel safe and welcome here. Here's a place where you can be safe. And there is no opposite to that. Like, if you're opposed to that, you're a piece of shit. End of story. So anyway, let's get back to this. As much ire as the Armed Forces has attracted locally, it has also garnered passionate support nationwide. The company raised $7.5 million from 9,000 plus investors who ponied up a minimum of $200 in what was essentially a crowdfunding campaign. Contributors got awards ranging from stickers and hats for smaller amounts to a signed copy of O'Neill's book, The Operator, for $10,000. Jesus Christ, $10,000. Investors have no voting rights. The company says it's uncertain if it will ever issue dividends, and the stock cannot be sold on the open market. So it's crowdfunding. It's fine. Whatever. Hey, give us money and we'll send you some things, and it's, goes towards like the idea of what they're doing. I'm not against. It's just the company itself is kind of shitty. So Armed Forces was founded by two Gallaudet college mates. They hooked up with Beal, a college dropout who had been running a consulting business branding bars, created Seawolf Brewery in Annapolis, and a Navy-themed company that debuted with its Special Hops IPA at the Military Bowl. According to the SEC, the Seawolf had $30,000 in revenue between January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2019. That's 2 years. 2 years they made $30,000. My store makes more money than that. Like, I'm not going to give you a whole lot, but in 2 years, yes, my store makes a little bit more money than that. Latest stock offerings showed the company operated a loss in both 2021 and 2022, kept afloat by offerings, paid no income taxes because it had no taxable income. So, it goes on. There's a lot more about it. All this will be down if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers. But diverse opposition. A Norfolk flagship would be almost certain to change the company's financial position. But in the months since the July purchase announcement, the Military Tribute Brewery in a military town has come under fire on social media for its testosterone-fueled, chest-beating, and jingoistic marketing. Many of those critics were especially unhappy with the swaggering statements by O'Neill, Armed Forces brand ambassador. He drew the bulk of the unfriendly fire for his social media post criticizing the Navy for using a drag queen in a recruitment ad, mocking transgender people, and refusing to wear a mask on an airplane during the pandemic. In a cartoonish video courting investors that was widely shared online by critics, including veterans, O'Neill assisted by a cleavage-forward blonde in tight military couture, as we just saw, was the piss water poured in the toilet, the grenade, the pretentious foreign brewery, all that stuff. In August, O'Neill was arrested in a Dallas suburb for public intoxication, misdemeanor assault, and then calling a security guard a racial slur. And then people say, I can't believe they're putting that BS in Norfolk. This sexist gun culture glorifying hipster-hating racist magnet. Now, I'm pro-gun. I own guns. But I also don't see guns as a cultural kind of thing to flash around and use as a way of advertising. Like it shows that you're not serious about it. That's how it feels to me. And I know, for all of his faults, O'Neill's a Navy SEAL. He knows his guns. He's good with guns. I have no doubt about that. Like, if I needed somebody to teach me how to shoot, O'Neill would be a perfect person to teach. Like, I wouldn't want him to, but if that was purely what it was, he's a person that could teach me how to shoot better. I know how to shoot. But, once again, you watch the video. It's insane. Like, it's just a stupid way of dick swinging with a gun in a way that is not meant to be serious. And I don't appreciate that when it comes to guns. The discontent spread beyond social media. Delegate Jackie Glass of Norfolk held a town hall in a prominent gay bar noting the anti-LGBTQ comments by O'Neill on social media and questioning whether the brewery was a good fit for the neighborhood. A local civic league, as well as the neighboring one, voted to oppose a use permit for the brewery. So again, you got to check out who you've got on your brand team here, because that's what ends up kind of sinking these people is, O'Neill is a huge asshole. So, again, more about O'Neill. Once we dove more deeper into the company and what it stood for and what their leadership represented, that's when it truly became something that I did not believe reflects the values we have in our wonderful community. He also said that he's worried Armed Forces' goal of brewing the equivalent of 500,000 to 700,000 cases per year, a level of production that dwarfed O'Connor's, who was the brewery they're buying, 200,000, would cause problems in what has already become a more residential neighborhood as trucks move in and out, which is, yes, logistics is a big problem for it. Like, the logistics alone, like, if that's what you think you're going to be putting out, which I doubt, especially not for $14 a six-pack. But I would not want all of those trucks coming in now. I live in a residential neighborhood. I don't want that bullshit. Let's see. So we've been challenged and dismayed to see the Armed Forces Brewing Company come to Norfolk and don't feel that they are a business that will support our community or be a safe place for queer folks in Norfolk. There's a rising hate and, unfortunately, again, an increase in violence against queer people. And that is Jeff Ryder, head of Hampton Roads Pride. And it says some veterans, too, oppose permit approval. Tom Wilder, a veteran who has operated Young Veterans Brewing Company in Virginia Beach for a decade, is opening a Norfolk location 5 blocks from the planned Armed Forces Brewing site, aired concerns. He noted that when young veterans got approval to open in Norfolk, we were told if the civic leads don't give us their blessing, the case is closed. What you'll see from us is never to appear to be flag waving to sell our product, to never appear to make guns or warfare look too cool so as not to appear to be recruiting for military service or political parties. Armed Forces is not taking those strides. Marketing a military-themed brand with American flags, guns, and ammo is low-hanging fruit of creativity. All the while, their CEO is not even a veteran. I will also say that American Flag Code expressly forbids using the American flag in advertising. So if you're all pissy about, people burning a flag, guess what? You're basically doing the same thing. You're disrespecting it. Maybe you think you're being patriotic, but you're not. So the Planning Commission voted 4-2 to recommend the denial. Beale called it a shit show. He did another one of those videos. I watched it. God, he's like, I don't want to like belittle a guy for like how he presents himself, but Jesus Christ, this man, he's just not. I don't want to fucking buy beer from him. He says he's always been clear that he's not a veteran. He's committed to hiring veterans as 70% of its workforce. We heard that with Black Rifle Coffee Company, too, when they were trying to swing their dicks because Starbucks said, hey, we're going to hire 10,000, immigrants to help them, move towards becoming American citizens, which is great. Like, you don't care. You don't like illegal immigrants. It's not even what Starbucks were saying. It's just like, no, people come here legally and we can give them jobs and help them along to become American citizens. So of the 13 members of the management team listed on the brewery site, only 4 are actually veterans. So Beale says there's been a lot of misinformation in the very beginning that's caused part of the community to hate this company. The misinformation is that Robert O'Neill's Armed Forces Brewery, and that is not the case. Well, you kind of made that though, and that's why they're scrubbing this stuff off of their YouTube, is because they're trying to rehabilitate themselves. But it's kind of too late. Like, we've already all seen it, and it's not hard to find. Like I said, Instagram is where I found all this stuff. So O'Neill, he noted, is a 4% owner, but has been removed as a brand ambassador. Says there's been no anti-LGBTQ, anti-race, or racist of any kind of comments from the Armed Forces Brewing Company. Individuals on their own Twitter pages are just what they are, individual comments. They're not, though. They're not, and we all know that. Like, you do not get to work for a company and say some racist shit, and then that company, that company might rightly fire you. Like, if I have a normal 9-to-5 job. If I was very outwardly racist on a regular basis on Twitter and my boss found out, I would not be surprised to be shit canned, especially if I was constantly like, I hate Peruvian people and I work at, this place. And yeah, they 100% would be justified in firing me. That's not a free speech issue. That's I should shut the fuck up because, my company has every right to fire me for whatever reason they want. That's just that's the country we live in. That's not a free speech issue. So therein lies the problem. You really have already shot yourself in the foot here. Copeland isn't buying that. He says, people truly equal brand, and you cannot separate the personal behaviors of a company leader from their organization. The actions that Armed Forces Brewing Company's leadership has demonstrated is lack of good moral character, and I truly believe that their continued actions are problematic. They are. Now, he's trying to, Beale is going to try to, counteract this, and he's still, we're gonna, there's still like more votes that are going to be happening, and they're hoping to get whatever they want here. But like, I just can't believe that like anybody would want these people around. Maybe fucking go to Branson. Maybe Branson would let you, but like even then, I don't know. Like even Heroes is, like I said, not that kind of thing. That kind of advertising's done. It's over. Like Black Rifle Coffee Company got away from that too. Black Rifle Coffee, like if you remember when Kyle Rittenhouse was a picture of him taken with Black Rifle Coffee Company, and Black Rifle was just like, oh no, we didn't give him that shirt. That's just a shirt he is wearing. We're not associated with him. And like every like racist uncle on Facebook shat themselves because of it. There's a reason for that. People, businesses are starting to understand that doesn't work anymore. And Black Rifle Coffee Company has been kind of doing a downturn in a lot of their businesses because nobody wants that shit, man. Nobody wants all of this stuff. We have new Bass Pro open up nearby, so I was out there and I was reminded that like Bass Pro, like Black Rifle Coffee Company is the coffee company of Bass Pro or something. It's just like, I still cannot get over the fact that they just have a bag that says SS on it. Like, I don't care. It says Sniper Smooth, man. Like, you got to think of the optics on these things. And sure, maybe there's a little bit of something to be like, no, we don't care about the optics. We're going to go forward and we're going to be, strong and brave and, stick to our guns. But like, man, your guns are sinking your fucking, your stocks here. And they want public, Black Rifle want public, and it did not go well for them. So that's Armed Forces Brewing Company. I'm going to keep up with them as much as I can. But really, I would just love to see it go away. I'd love to see all of this shit go away. Black Rifle has stopped doing that kind of stuff because they, like I said, they realize that it's not useful and it's not healthy, and it's not something that's going to bring them people in. And I just was recently served an ad on Twitter for a coffee company that some dude with a big beard and just like, I love coffee and I'm big and burly and manly and, this is like testosterone drink or whatever. And a lot of the comments were like, hey, what happened to, Don Trump Jr. being your spokesperson or something? People are learning that it's fucking toxic and they got to get the fuck away from those people. So I'm glad to see it. I don't love to see veterans like take a nosedive, but this guy isn't a veteran, so fuck him. And honestly, you made the bed and you gotta and you shit all over the bed and now you gotta lie in it. And that's on you, man. Like do a Blackwater. Just rebrand yourself to something else. Be veteran friendly, but just be less bullets, beards, and boobies. And I think you're gonna get somewhere. Like, don't be wrong. We all love those three things, but that shouldn't be how you're trying to sell yourself to us. So, Armed Forces Brewing Company, fuck them. The only Armed Forces branded thing, Armed Forces Vacation Club. If you're in the military or if you're a veteran, check out Armed Forces Vacation Club. I love them. You can get like a week at a timeshare. Like people have timeshares and they sell the points to Armed Forces Vacation Club. So you can get like a condo or something for 7 days, somewhere, all over the place for pretty cheap, $500-$600, where like normally those places would cost, $200 or $300 a night. So Armed Forces Brewing Company, Armed Forces Vacation Club, go check them out. Go on a vacation. You deserve one. Even if you're not in the Army, go grab your dad's ID. And if he was in the military, use his shit. Go on a vacation. So this went a lot longer than I was expecting it to, so I don't think that we're going to kind of go into any of the other stuff that I was going to do. I guess I can talk about the shop a little bit, but we have the normal pins. The Carlton Gustav sticker patches are in there as well as just regular stickers. But this month I'm going to be working hard on my repurposed signs. We've got a classic sci-fi. You might have saw me asking for classic sci-fi suggestions. So the Science Center in St. Louis has first Friday of the month. They have a theme, and we're usually vendors there. So I'm not doing one in January because of the new year, but they're doing one in February. It's all classic sci-fi. So I'm going to be working on recreating signs into Sean Connery in his weird red onesie in Zardoz and shit like that. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to support us, myself and Nate, you can always give to the Patreon. We always have bonus episodes there. Next year, once the new year rolls around, we're going to be kind of changing a few things up. Not in a negative way. I'm really enjoying doing these videos on a more regular basis and then putting the actual audio up onto the feed. So any interviews that I do, I'm going to be trying to do interviews still fairly regularly, but at the moment it is just me kind of running things as Nate is still, still dealing with brand new baby, which is very hard to do. If you've never had to deal with brand new baby, it's difficult. So I'm kind of running things on my own. I have, obviously the zoo crew, and I have Tom, and I have a lot of people helping and supporting everything. I don't want to make it sound like I'm doing this all on my own. I'm not. I have a good support group here. But I'm thinking, interviews are going to be coming out early on the Patreon and then go out on the main feed, maybe a week or two later. I've got a lot of really good interviews lined up for this week. I found my wife actually found a guy who plays in a band called Vision Video. He is a goth dad and he is ex-military himself. So very much looking forward to having military / dad chat with a goth dude in a very Depeche Mode kind of band in Georgia. That sounds very exciting to me. Hopefully that sounds exciting to you as well. And a few other things, movie reviews coming up. And of course we're going to be talking MASH, and we're going to be talking Deadwood, as I have been doing with Carrie and Joe. So all of that stuff is on the Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to everything, including our Discord. We have a Discord with Lions Led by Donkeys. So if you want to jump in with a bunch of really cool people and also a bunch of real weird people, sometimes they're the same people. Sometimes it's me. It's just me in there. No, there's lots of people in there. They're great. I love them. Our Discord is great. So any amount of money to the Patreon, not just mine, but to Joe's. If you'd rather give Joe $1, that's fine, I guess. But you should give me $1 too, hopefully. But you can get in on that Patreon as well. But thank you. The links for all that will be down in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next week.